Welcome to or back to my channel. My name is Zoe. For those of you that are new, don't know me, it's nice to meet you. Today I am doing a full fall video. It has been the perfect introduction to fall, and so I am so excited to go book shopping, do a little book haul, get a little cozy. We've had some great weather, hence I'm outside again today. I just am loving it. But without further ado, let's get into it. So I did happen to make a few trips to the bookstore, so I am going to start with a little book shopping video. So let's cut to that. It's fall, baby. I'm really excited about fall. As you can see, it's raining outside. This whole weekend has just been the perfect fall weekend. I've done some research for some books, so when I get there, I'll be very kind of in the know for what I'm looking for. But this is the first sweater that I'm wearing in fall. It's like this orange sweater. I literally keep calling myself the Great Pumpkin because it's like that level of orange. I'm very excited for today's video. We are headed to the bookstore. Alright, so we have officially made it to the core of the video, which is the fall book haul and TBR. So everything that I am planning to read this fall. It is a very ambitious list, let me be honest with you. I'm excited to tackle it. I'm excited to delve into a lot of different stories and genres that I truly have never read before, and so I'm very excited about that. So I'm excited to share the books that I found at the bookstore as well as my fall TBR. So let's get into it. So specifically starting with a little book haul from the bookstore. I am so pumped. I spent a little bit too much money, but that's okay because kind of start my own library. Yeah, we'll add these to the little library that I'm starting. Starting off strong and super cute. I guess you could call it cute. It is a murder mystery, so I don't know where that lies. I've already gone a little bit halfway through it now. It's a pretty short read, but it is the first book in this series of Shady Hollow. I heard about this through Instagram. I was very intrigued. I wanted to, again, hop out of my comfort zone in terms of not necessarily reading a ton of romance, but kind of branching out to fantasy and magical realism. I picked up this book here, and it is called Shady Hollow. Again, the first book in the series. I think there may be 7 books. Essentially, it follows this town called Shady Hollow, and it is filled with all these different woodland creatures. They're a fully functioning town until one day a toad gets murdered. And so they are working together to really figure out who murdered this toad and why there are also some other mysterious things happening in the town that they didn't realize. So it's not all as it is presented to be on the outside. So far it's been really good. Again, quick, easy read, and the chapters are very short, so I also appreciate that because it makes it easy to start and stop and kind of pick up where you left off. The next book that I am very excited to read is called The Reappearance of Rachel Price, and I saw this on a book video that Haley Pham did. I was very intrigued, so I picked this up. She also, Holly Jackson, has written A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which I've also heard is a very good mystery thriller novel, so I'm excited to dive deeper into Miss Holly Jackson if I love this novel. Essentially, it follows this girl. Her mom disappeared. So finally, 16 years later, they're making a documentary talking about the disappearance of her mom. All of a sudden, her mom reappears. They're like, where have you been? What is your story? So essentially, it just follows what happens after she disappeared. Where have you been? So I think it's going to be a little more spooky. So I want to wait a little bit till the end of October to kind of go into more spooky, thriller, especially if it's a little scary. I don't know. I'm kind of nervous. I'm not going to lie. It it does look very interesting. So hence the cover, you know, they're filming a documentary. So it looks very interesting. It sounds very interesting. I'm excited to read it. So yeah, this is on my TBR for this fall. The next book that I plan to read this fall got a lot of mixed reviews on Goodreads, and I think just in general, but it is The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. So a lot of people I found don't like this book. I read the synopsis of it and it sounds so interesting. So essentially it follows a granddaughter and her grandmother. Her grandma writes these stories in a town that is called The Hazelwood. The mom is stolen away and she has to find her, only to discover that she has been stolen or kidnapped into the stories that her grandma has written called The Hazelwood. So the daughter teams up with a very devout fan to find her mother, who has found herself in these stories that her grandma has written about. So I don't know if that makes a ton of sense, but I think it does sound really interesting and I'm excited to read it. A lot of people gave it bad reviews because they say that like the synopsis doesn't necessarily match the contents inside. So to read it for myself and kind of see, but fairy tale-esque, that's what we're looking for, especially for fall months. So again, excited to read this, but I'm hoping that it'll be good and not disappointing. But there's this one. The next book that I am planning to read this fall is Once Upon a Broken Heart, which is also a series, as is The Hazelwood. I believe there is a second book to this series, and this one, it looks like there's 2 other books in this series. So I will have a lot of books to read. If it's not just these physical copies, I'll have a few other books that follow these stories. So this book follows Evangeline Fox. She's the main character in this story. She learns that her love of her life is about to be wed to another, and she is going to miss out on true love. So in order to stop that from happening, she teams up and strikes a deal with the Prince of Hearts, who essentially grants her her wish, but on certain terms. So she realizes that striking a deal with an immortal essentially is not the best idea and comes with a few consequences. So it follows that story. I don't know if she ends up finding true love or what happens, but I'm excited to read this story. I feel like it is minimal spice from what I remember seeing. Again, don't really dive into the world of like fantasy or magical realism or anything, but I feel like since it is fall, this is the perfect time to dive into these books to just see if I enjoy them. So I'm excited to kind of branch out here. The final book that I physically bought from the bookstore in my TBR is none other than Harry Potter, and I already finished this book. I loved it. Okay. I am so excited to continue the series this fall season as well as watch the movies. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. But this has been such a whimsical, cutesy book, and again follows the story of Mr. Harry Potter as he is learning to become a wizard. I am loving it so far. I have never been into Harry Potter or interested at all. My husband introduced me to the movies not too long ago when we watched most of them. I didn't really get into it until we went to Universal earlier this year and we got to go to Harry Potter World, and that's when I realized, wow, there is a whole world, like universe essentially, that I just don't even know about, and it has so many quirky things and jokes and just inside stuff that I just have no idea about. And so I was like, I need to know more. I want to know all the stuff that's going on. I loved it. So I'm excited to continue the series. I did already finish this book. I read a few chapters, but mostly listened to the audio version on Audible, and the narrator does such a good job. It was so fun to listen to. So I'm definitely excited to continue the series as well as continue to watch the movies just this fall season. So that is my physical TBR list that I am hopefully planning to read and finish this year. I am very excited for the choices. I was very intentional going to the bookstore because I wanted to pick out stories that I genuinely was interested in. But I definitely wanted to venture out a little bit out of my comfort zone and read a little bit more fantasy and magic and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of that in here. The last books that I just want to briefly mention that I hope to read this fall, if I don't get to them, they're definitely on my TBR list. A few honorable mentions that I hope to read this year are Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers. This is like, again, kind of a cozy mystery thriller. It follows this Asian woman as she is tending to her shop, and I believe someone either dies in her tea shop or something similar to that happens. And anyway, she starts to kind of like uncover the murder herself. So that is on my TBR. The 7-Year Slave Flip is also on my TBR, and I was going to get it, but I just want to wait, I think, until the perfect time. I don't know if there is a perfect time to read a certain book, but I just felt like there's a lot of books that I'm really excited to get through, so I wanted to wait on this one. The Academy Classic School in the Fall Academy story. Twilight, of course. They are very thick, hefty books, so we'll see if we get there. They will always be a good fall TBR read. The last book I'm adding to my TBR is The Ex-Girlfriend Murder Club. I saw this, I believe, on Goodreads, but it just seemed very comical and funny, not very like serious thriller, scary. If I get to it, it will be a fun read. So, well, I hope you guys enjoyed watching my bookshop, my fall reading list, and my book haul, just everything cozy and fall. If you guys have any book recommendations, let me know. I would love to read some other books or add them to my list of things to read. And I would love to know what you guys are reading, so definitely let me know. Make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!